Okay, so I went to the office supply store today, bought myself a composition notebook. I like the cover. It looks like static. Makes sense because when it came time to write something down, I drew a total blank, radio silence. I did write my name on the cover though, just enough penmanship to remind myself how fucking shaky my hands are. Pretty sure that's a symptom of insomnia, Doc. I can barely turn a fucking key. Why'd you ask me to fill a journal? So, my next stop was to the thrift store. Told me I shouldn't use my phone as a diary, it'll just keep me awake, so I bought a tape recorder instead. Audio diary, you know? And then I remembered I own a computer, so I got home and I decided to stop being a fucking hipster. So, it's all riveting stuff, I know, but here I am, and trust me, an email with an MP3 will waste far less of your time than trying to read my handwriting right now. It's a shame to waste the notebook, though. Alright, so I lied. I'm still a fucking hipster. When I'm not sleeping, I've been trying to use that old tape recorder I bought. It won't let me record over the old tape, and I can't take it out. The door is glued shut or something like that. I thought about taking it apart, but every screw I can find on it is like rounded off. And I don't mean stripped by a screwdriver, I mean like it's drilled out. They're perfectly round divots where the driver head would usually go. Who did that? I could still get this thing apart, but, not without messing up the screws or smashing it, and I don't know. It doesn't feel right to break it. It's a cool little desk thing. Everything else works on it. It lights up, play, pause, reverse. Only thing it won't do is open, so I guess right now it's a fidget. Clicky-clacky buttons. I need wired headphones for it anyways to see what's on the tape, and I don't have any, so I've just been lying in bed, messing with it like a fucking chimp. It's not sleep, but it's peaceful. Who glues a tape recorder shut? What if the tape breaks? That doesn't make any sense. Whatever it is, I kind of want to listen to it, if it's still good, and I found some headphones. I was crashing at a friend's place last night, and, I couldn't sleep, so I just kind of wandered around after he went to bed. I straightened up his kitchen a little bit. I threw away whatever trash I found. Look, I know that's a little weird, but I didn't feel okay driving, and it's hard to be friends with someone that can barely ever think straight, so he helps me order at the drive-thru, and to say thank you, I clean his apartment while he sleeps. I feel like it's a win-win, but I was rummaging around in his junk drawer, and I found some of those cheap white earbuds. This pair has seen better days, but he said I could have them, and I tested them on my laptop. They still work, so I can finally listen to that tape. I've tried a few white noise machines, Doc. To be frank, I feel like they're all just cheap pieces of junk. The best white noise I ever had was the CRT in my parents' living room growing up. You know those old TVs with the glass screen? They had this electric whine that would fill the air. It felt like something crunchy was hugging my brain. I've been trying to find one of those on Craigslist. I feel like they're not very expensive now, and while I was looking, I decided to try out that tape that I found, just to see. I gotta say, it's like perfect white noise. Those machines they sell usually have a few different settings, ocean waves or rain or sometimes radio static, whatever. The tape feels like all of them. You listen to it, and at first it sounds like crashing waves, but then the sound doesn't change, but you'd swear you're hearing like a strong wind move through trees. And then, again, the noise isn't any different, but now you feel like it's the pitter-patter of hefty raindrops, and then it's static or crunchy leaves, footsteps on the snow. It goes on and on like that. It's like a Rorschach test of sound. And it has that little brain-stabbing whine that an old TV has. It's great. I get so lost in trying to listen to it, figuring out what the sound is. I think that's why people count sheep. I'm going to try sleeping with it tonight. I want to see what the rest of the tape sounds like. Doc, I slept for 6 hours last night. I don't mean I forced myself to stay in bed for 6 hours. I mean I slept like a rock for 6 hours. I would have slept longer probably, but I went to bed really late. I'm blown away. I feel incredible. I think it's the tape. I don't know how to explain it. I'm not worried when I listen to it. I usually stay up thinking about everything, life, work, car, rent, food, relationships, holidays, whatever. I'll get anxious thinking about what I'm going to say on these little recordings that I make for you every day. All these tiny obligations. It's the little things that keep me up, but they're just part of the deal, right? That's being a human. But they drive me nuts. And the tape, I don't know. It makes me feel empty. It's simple. It's peaceful. I'm still using the tape, and I'm still getting a full 8 hours every night. It's funny, as soon as my alarm goes off, I don't really feel tired. My eyes just kind of snap open, and I feel myself tense back up to start my day. It's a little annoying, but I guess it helps keep me on time. I don't really want to hang around in bed after I've heard the sound of my alarm. Oddly enough, it doesn't really matter when I go to bed. As soon as I put the headphones on, I'm out like a light in under 5 minutes, regardless of the time. I even tried it once at 7 p.m. That's hours before I'd usually even think about sleeping, and I slept right through until my alarm the next morning. So now I just go to bed exactly 8 hours before my alarm, and then it's instant blackout. Easy peasy. I've never gotten more sleep in my entire life. I love it. I'm up to 10 hours a night now, and my job performance has improved so much that I don't need to stress about missing rent anymore. And if I'm being honest, nothing appeals to me more than sleeping in my free time, so I'm saving on electricity too. I come home from work, I eat a meal, and I go to bed right away. Now, you might suggest that since I have a little extra money and energy, I should go out more, and well, I tried. I went to the movies because I always used to nod off in the theater, dark room, comfy chairs, and look, I don't want to pay money for a shitty nap and a stale tub of popcorn, but since I'm well rested now, I thought, might as well give it a try. And I didn't fall asleep, but I couldn't tell you a thing about what I saw. I tried my best to pay attention, but the person behind me was breathing so loud. It felt like they were trying to taste me or something. I could practically feel their breath on the back of my neck, but I would turn and they would just be sitting calmly in their seat, not even lean forward. Come to think of it, when people breathe through their mouths, it drives me crazy. Whenever I'm in public, I notice when someone's doing it. I can't explain why, but it feels like it's always happening in my personal space, even if they're a few feet away from me. So, long story short, I prefer to stay inside. You learn something new every day. I don't like people, and sleeping is just gravy. Video games used to be a weird sort of friend to me. Sometimes the only thing to do during a sleepless night is to slip on a headset and pretend you're somewhere else, doing something much more important than not sleeping. It was my day off, so I decided to pour some hours into Minecraft just to pass the time. But there was this fly in my apartment, just one, It wasn't even in my office, but I could hear it so clearly. I put my headset on and I cranked the game volume, but through the deafening thumps of breaking blocks, I could still hear that fucking fly. And it's not just that that's been bothering me. The sounds of other people breathing, other people eating, ruffling fabric, car engines, squeaky hinges, buzzing overhead lights. Stuff like that is making my skin crawl lately. I started walking around my apartment with earmuffs on, actually, but when I do that, I hear my own body. My heartbeat reverberates against the noise blockers. I start to think about my breathing, the gurgle and click when I swallow. It makes me feel like, I don't belong in my own skin. How can my own body be so annoying? It makes me feel gross and vulnerable. It's like every little sound is a piece of broken glass, and I'm just walking around barefoot. It's gotta be the tape. That's the only explanation. I mean, something really is not right with me. The only time I feel safe, the only time I can relax is when I listen to the damn thing, and I can't make it more than a few minutes in without blacking out. I looked it up, and it's a C180 cassette, and that means it can only play for an hour and a half maximum. So the rest of the time, I'm just sleeping through silence. But I can't stay awake past the first 5 minutes. What else is on there? I mean, there's 85 minutes of something else, and I swear to God, it's changing me. I looked at a picture of myself from a month ago, and I'm different. I've grown my hair out, and I don't have dark circles around my eyes, but they're all sunken now. They feel heavy all the time, and my ears are bigger and they're flatter. My hair covers them, so I didn't notice at first, but they don't stick out anymore. They're like glued to the side of my head. They look like they're pressed against my skull, and they're bigger. My nose hurts, too. It hurts to breathe through my nose, so I've been breathing through my mouth, but I hear it too much, so I purse my lips, and that way it kind of sounds like the wind, like the tape. That way it doesn't bother me so much when I breathe. Something's really wrong. Fuck. Oh, my fucking head. After I recorded that yesterday, I've tried to fast forward to see what was in the middle of the tape, and I got a good ways in, and I pressed play, and I felt like my skull was splitting open. I reached to pull out the headphones, but I felt myself fall down, and I blacked out. And when I woke up, it was 13 hours later. I heard it was the siren of a fire truck outside woke me up, and I wasn't in my bed, and I wasn't laying on the floor like where I fell down. I was sitting up. My head was in my knees, and I can't. Oh, stabbing my eyes. I can't stop listening to it. I can't. It's all I can take to live this way. I have to clean myself. I get dressed. I go to work. I do my job. I feed myself with these sounds. All the fucking sounds. Every person is breathing down my neck. Every insect is trying to fly inside of my goddamn ear. And people talk to me and I can barely hear what they're saying because their fucking throats are expanding and contracting. And it doesn't sound like the wind. It sounds like despair. It's fucking torture. When I come home, I take no comfort in a warm shower. I don't want a home-cooked meal. I don't want to curl up and watch a TV show. All I want to do is go to sleep. And the only time I can sleep is with this fucking tape! It's ruining my life. And I can't give it up. How's it still running? I thought. I never replaced the batteries. Every night for over a month and it's still running? I opened the battery compartment, no screws on that part, just to see. Why can it still run? And there were no batteries in there, just these pieces of paper all folded up. One was just numbers, like random numbers, and on the corners of them, there were these other numbers, and there was an N and an E and a degree symbol, and I know that that's coordinates, latitude, longitude coordinates. What is this? I was fired. Doesn't matter. I just kept avoiding people, and if they needed to talk to me, I would have to close my eyes and swallow bile to listen through all the putrid sounds of humanity to try to pick apart the little bits of language. And what is the language? It's just words, it's instructions, it's orders. It's not much of an oasis. Obligations are the daggers of motivation with chains attached that yank us forward towards a little more money, a little more recognition, being seen or being paid or being rewarded, when the greatest reward in the world is just being alone. All the luxuries we chase, they're lies to me. I can hear them now. They're lies. I realize my life is a prison and I can escape in my bed. Yeah, Doc. I have been sleeping my days away. But now that you mention it, there's one loose string in my sinking little life, isn't there? Something to tug on. It won't change much, but before I'm evicted, before I run away, well, there's still something in my pocket. I need to. For this, I can miss one sleep. I know the big one's coming. Whatever I find, whatever I learn, it'll be the last thing that I ever care to know. And soon I'll be. I found it. I had to walk through a field. It's in the middle of nothing. Big concrete tunnel in the woods. I could hear down it. I could hear the buzzing inside. I didn't stop moving till I found them. I let them out. Someone just left them in there. They were like statues of flesh. Their heads were shaking from all the buzzing. But now they're leaving. Spreading out. They moved so diligently. I think they heard me coming. I think they are what I'm becoming. I've always wanted to be something. If you look for me, I'll hear you first. We all will.